Are you ready to get the hydrofacial glow? Loved in 87 countries across the world. It's not a facial, it's a hydrofacial. Now available across the UK. Visit hydrofacial.co.uk to find your nearest location.
We were all lined up afterwards, and Diana came up and said, and my God, talk about flirty. She came up to me and she said, oh God, she said, a radio star, how romantic. So I fell in love, instantly. Fell in love.
We were nominated, we had a fantastic evening, and we are commended. So we didn't quite win, but just to be nominated with all those incredible programs was fantastic.
We were up against big competition. I mean, some incredible channels and shows, and it was just such an honor to be shortlisted and to be there.
Yeah, well done, girls. Honestly.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody that was involved, and perhaps who knows, next year we might win. But what a fantastic experience! And broadcast awards are they're enormous. So we are very, very grateful. So thank you for everyone for watching us, of course. But now let's carry on with the show. Harriet and Sherry, Debbie, what have you? Did you take them hostage?
Well, no, actually, I got my magic wand out and I just made them disappear for a little while so I could step in.
Are you getting in practice to play the fairy, darling?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Fairy.
Well, you've just conjured up the wonderful Timothy Bentinck, who's our friend of the show, best known as David Archer and the Archers, and he's done loads and loads of telly, but he's been here before. Hello, darling Tim. Hi, Tim.
Hey. Hi, Tim.
You're looking gorgeous. I love your hair, by the way.
Oh, it's very sweet of you. I just want to go
like.
Oh, get off.
Oh, please. Security.
The one thing I've still got, as I age. The one thing that's still here. It hasn't all fallen out. I mean, everything else is sort of slowly dropping off. It's extraordinary. I'm 69. I mean,
are you?
God, you look amazing.
I've got this whole year of dreading being 70 ahead of me. Now I've just turned 69. It wasn't so bad at 68. Now 69, I go, Christ, I'm going to be 70. But, yeah, so I mean, exactly the same person I was. I reckon I arrested about age 28. I think we all do, kind of around late 20s. I think that's who we are. And then the bodies then slowly starts to fall to pieces. But luckily, that it's not a syrup, it's not a wig, it's real.
Well, I remember when we first worked together. Of course, I always have to talk about this when we met in bed, and you nearly drowned me. But that's all. Yes, but
you're just trying to make us jealous, Debbie. I am. That's all it is.
Yes, she is. Obviously,
it was hilarious, but it was very interesting having met that way, and then we stayed friends actually forever.
Yes, we absolutely have, and we went to a couple of years ago before COVID. We did it was only a week, unfortunately. We did a cruise up to Norway and went and saw the Northern Lights.
Yeah,
and we just had the best time. It was I remember it as being a time of endless laughter and storms as well. Being on stage and sort of sliding across the stage. With 5 people in the audience all being seasick. It was God. It was funny.
It was. We've always had lots of fun and lots and lots of fun together. But Tim, you've just been celebrating, I hate to say this, 40 years of the Archers.
I know.
mean, wow. How do you feel doing a job for 40 years?
Well, I mean, very lucky, really. I was thinking about this the other day, tiny things in your life, that change your life completely. And that one audition, when I was at Bristol Orbit Theatre School, and I won this thing called the Carlton Hobbs Radio Award, which gives you...
I remember that. That used to get you into the BBC, what's it? The BBC...
Yeah, the radio rep. So you had 6 months on the radio rep, £50 a week, which when they offered it me, it was £30 a week, and I was a bit iffy, but up to 50 quid a week, so that was good. And you get an equity card, and so then I did loads and loads of radio plays. I mean, probably about 100 in that time. And as a result of that, auditioned to be in this thing called The Archers that I had never ever heard. I didn't know, I simply didn't know anything about it. So I just sort of sauntered up there. And I realized later, actually, because somebody played a recording of the previous guy who played David Archer called David Karivic. And I listened, I went, that's me. That's me. And clearly it wasn't my talent or anything to do with getting the part. It was because I sounded just like the previous guy. So thank you, David Karivic, for sounding like you did. And I'm very sorry that you lost the part. And I do feel for you. In fact, we had it's like communication with him a couple of years ago. And he was really sweet, very nice. Anyway, I auditioned for it, not knowing anything about it at all. Got the part. And that tiny little thing, all these auditions we do, all these things you do, and you get this part and that changes your life. And getting the Archers has led to me writing an autobiography and getting an MBE. I mean, what? An MBE. All I did was turn up and say things into a microphone. I do charity things or be good or, all the people that deserving. I feel very undeserving. So when it came to it, I thought, well, shall I? I feel this is awful. Anyway, after a few days, I went, well, somebody's being nice, someone's saying well done. So I thought it was a bit churlish to turn it down. So I said, thank you. And
yes,
that
but you're also a count, aren't you, Tim?
Well, I am. I'm a count of the Holy Roman Empire. Absolutely. But let's keep that one quiet or I'll never work again.
You're not just a count, you're also the 12th Earl of Portland too. I mean, you're very humble, Tim. Yeah,
but I mean that one, these things came at us from left field from a very distant cousin, and it was because of my part. Who was a great environmentalist and wanted to tell people and stand up in front of people and tell them to save the planet and that. And he wanted a political platform to do that. And he had this opportunity. This title came at him from left field, and he had the opportunity of going to the House of Lords. And there he is, and he's on YouTube. You can look at him, Earl of Portland's maiden speech, his only speech, because the poor chap subsequently got cancer and died, so he wasn't able to continue with it. But that's why he did it. And then he died, and so it was left with me. And then I had this choice of whether or not to, to go into the House of Lords and be a politician and not be an actor, or both. And you can't be both. I mean, you can't possibly be an actor and be a hereditary peer. So thank God Blair threw us all out. So that was it. It's not me. It doesn't define me. It's not who I am. I don't do Lord. I haven't got inherited wealth and castles and anything. I'm Tim, and I'm an actor. That's who I am.
Right. And Tim, you haven't met the lovely Debbie McGee before, have you?
No, but I am in awe. I'm enthralled that Debbie McGee is with us. I am such a fan.
I'm going to get jealous.
I've always admired you. Oh, you're getting jealous now. This is great. I've got girls being.
Tim, can I ask you?
Yes.
You've done so much work. So when you started and you got the Archers, everybody knew you as David Archer, but it was radio. And as you said, you did so many radio plays, so they didn't know your face. But when you started then making movies and things and you got recognised, how did that make you feel?
Well, it's very interesting you should ask that. And you who are, far more famous than I am and recognizable will know this, that, when I started, you start off thinking, I'm going to be rich and famous. Those are the words, aren't they? I'm going to be rich and famous for being an actor. And wait till you see me, that's going to make a difference. The arrogance of youth, awful. But when I was on telly a lot and I started getting recognized in the street, I realized that actually I felt awkward about it, and I felt that my anonymity and my privacy were there to be taken by other people, that I wasn't my own private person anymore. And I thought, oh God, maybe I don't want this. I know Stephen Fry, quite well. You walk down the street with Stephen, and everybody recognizes him, and everybody recognizes him. And I thought, how can you do that? I'm not sure that I will. So in a way, I quite like the idea of being, a kind of as it were, a radio star. I met, I'll drop a name here. I met, we did a thing called the Great Event, 50 years of broadcasting in front of Her Majesty. And we were the Archers on stage, and with every famous person you can possibly imagine. And we were all lined up afterwards, and Diana came up and said, and my God, talk about flirty. Came up to me and she said, oh God, she said, a radio star, how romantic. So I fell in love, instantly. And I said, yes, Your Royal Highness, it means you don't get recognized in the street. And she said, oh God, I could do with some of that.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow. So I said, Your Royal Highness, perhaps you'd like to come up to Ambridge and, be our radio princess. She said, looked at me in the eye, said, sounds divine. And that was it. So then when Charles came along and said, it was very nice to do with the bicycle pump that you use for the champagne cork, the goons allowed me to do that, telling me all about that. I thought, well, mate, you're the cuckold here. I mean, I've pulled. I've already pulled, you're out the picture. Yeah, so, yes, radio anonymity. I mean, the thing about it, it's got 5 million people listening to the Archers. That means that there are 5 million David Archers in people's heads, and not one of them looks like me. So whenever people meet me, they go, "Oh, you don't look like David at all." The Archbishop of Canterbury's wife actually said to me at that same event, she said, "Oh, what a disappointment!"
What? That's outrageous.
Yeah.
I thought, no, actually, Tim, I thought the opposite, and I'm not just saying. I'm not being flirty or anything.
Thank you,
much, but I do think when I saw you, I mean, often, as you say, when you meet people playing parts and you have an image of them in your head, and you're really disappointed, and it was quite the reverse.
Oh, bless you. Oh, thank you.
That is the truth. I don't say that lightly. And I have listened to the Archers for years and years and years, and what's really amazing about it is, your character, like all the characters, go through so many sort of transformations. I mean, for instance, when Ruth had the affair, I think the whole world was completely outraged.
Not as outraged as David. Not as outraged as David was. He hasn't forgotten it.
Oh, I was going to say he seemed to forgive and forget quite quickly.
I know.
Not in the back of his head.
No. I keep saying to the scriptwriters, I said, that hasn't gone away. The thing about him is, the way I feel is that he loves her beyond belief. He absolutely adores her, and that was such a kick in the guts. For him, and that his attitude was, what have I done wrong? What's wrong with me? Not so much to blame her, but to think that if you can do that, what am I doing wrong?
Yes.
And so for me, as an actor's point of view of playing David, that it's always kind of in the back of my mind that I must be a good husband. I must ever let that happen.
But you are a good husband, Tim.
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
About 34 years, I think now. I think she came in about 6 years after me, around about that. Yeah, Felicity.
No, I meant in real life.
Oh, in real life? Oh, God. 42 years.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, 42 years. Real life, absolutely. Yes. No, and we met, more than that. We met, I'm 69. We met when we were 21. So we were about 5 years together before we got married. So it's, me and Jude, bless her heart. You seen her latest hats?
Oh, yes.
Hats?
No.
She's designing very famous ones, isn't she, at the moment?
My wife, Judy's the most fantastic milliner. She makes these gorgeous hats. And just recently, she got a fascinator on Mel B when she got her MBE, and her mum as well. And then on Mylene Class at Ascot. So she's becoming milliner to the pop stars now. That's the plan. Because it's been horrible through COVID.
Beautiful, absolutely stunning. And I've still got a hat that I must return, because I did say I would visit, and I'm going to do that quite soon, because hats are me.
Yeah.
But so going back to the Archers.
Yes.
So what I find really fascinating is, even if you don't listen for a few months, you can pick it up immediately, because there's something there to grab you.
Yeah.
And I hadn't listened for a few weeks, and then I listened to the omnibus, and suddenly I'm obsessed with Steph's thing, and at the party, and her, her being caught with with Luke.
Yes, Luke. Yes.
Oh my God, that was terrible. Honestly, and Beth wouldn't have him back. Oh, you must be joking.
It's a departure for David, though, organizing events and not being on the tractor, because you listen to the way that I do this, he's going, yep, absolutely, we've got to do this to make money and everything, but he'd rather be on a tractor, really and truly.
You could tell. You could tell.
How does it work? Because I've never been in a radio serial. I've only had a program on radio. So do you get the whole script so you know what's going on in each episode?
Yes,
or just your scenes?
No, you get the whole script of the episode. It used to be in the past, you get every single episode for the whole month. You get to this huge, great stack of scripts would arrive, which I have to say, I don't think anybody actually ever read anything that they weren't in. It's not really the actor's way to do that. You just look at your scenes. So yeah, you get sent them. I mean, mine have just arrived. Here they are. So this is here's my scripts have just arrived, and that I've got 2 episodes coming up, and that is a week after next, and so I've got them to prepare, and then you go up there and you do a read through, and then it takes 2 hours to record each episode. That's a 13-minute episode, and they do 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. They do that for a full week, and that's the month's output. And that's normality. It's sort of gone back to normality now, because all the way through COVID, it wasn't normal in the slightest bit. We were doing things like recording from home. And to start off with, if you remember, we were doing these monologues because they hadn't got enough bandwidth to be able to record more than one person at a time, because they weren't doing it through the BBC. He was doing it through the engineer's private, router, and he's got his kids playing computer games at the same time. So, I mean, the whole thing was so Heath Robinson. It was wonderful. But they did that for a bit. That was a sort of an interesting departure. But then we were able to do kind of 2 headers and things. It distracted from the idea of doing radio, which is 3-dimensional. I mean, one of the things that's nice about radio drama is that you're in a room which has got an acoustic, and therefore you can move away from the microphone and use that to suggest that you are, you're moving around, and it's got movement and energy to it, rather than just being 2 talking heads in front of a microphone, which is what when we were doing it from home, it became that. And it's it's still a bit like that, because we've still got social distancing within the in the studio. Yeah, so we're all still on separate mics. We're not all gathered around a mic like we used to be, which is what gives it. Oh, they're just being not very cautious. I mean, COVID's still around, and we have to do a test every day before we turn up to studio to make sure we haven't got it, and all wear masks and all that. So, but good on them. They don't want people getting sick.
Is it the same though, Tim? Because when you're in a TV soap, you cannot watch your episodes when you've done them, really, because you're 6 weeks ahead. If you're watching what you've just done, your brain loses the plot, doesn't it? Really, it's very hard. Yeah. Is it the same with the Archers? Do you feel like that, or can you listen to it?
No, not really, because the thing is, I mean, we're 5 weeks ahead of broadcast. So what if I'm in the car and the Archers comes on, it's not it's not going to affect what I'm going to be recording the next day. Kind of thing. No, not really. It isn't. It is different. And and the last, because of COVID and various other things, I haven't been in it as much as I used to be, and so I'm sort of a bit coming to other people's stories. But apparently that's going to change. I'm not allowed to say any more than that.
You heard it here first, girl.
Yes.
But listen, I've got to just say, because Dee, I was saying you're with your Thunderbirds puppets behind you. Yes. I got a part. I did it. You do these self-tapes and you fire them off and you never hear anything. Anyway, I've got this part, which is it's a thing called The Toys That Built America. And it's a drama documentary, and I'm playing this New Yorker guy who's in fact the biggest name in toys. He's from the Bronx, which is good because I'm okay with the Bronx accent. He's called Bernie Loomis, and he was the guy that started merchandise. And from Star Wars, they made the toys from Star Wars, and there's this lovely story. I'm doing it in a couple of weeks' time, and they said, "What sort of size should it be?" And Bernie's a big man like me, 6'3". He said it should be this big, and he did that with his finger and his thumb like that. He just went that big, and that is why all toys are that size, 3 3/4 inches. Because of Bernie going, "It's gonna be that big." I love that story.
Gorgeous.
Is this radio or TV?
No, it's telly. No, it's
telly.
It's for
we can look out for it.
Yeah, it's for the History Channel. So
fantastic!
Yeah.
Wow,
it was amazing. I got a part playing an American in an American,
Is that why your hair is long?
Well, it's why I haven't cut it, because this guy's his hair is from 1960s and it's sort of a bit.
Oh, Tim, though, I think it really suits you having a bit longer hair. I must say, perhaps Judy doesn't agree with me, his wife, of course, but I love it. I think it makes you look really different and much, silver foxy.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It was not like Swiss Tony, Harry Enfield, Harry and. Hey, because Swiss Tawny is that kind of that silver look. I was slightly worried about that, but yeah, no, I mean, looking at that, it looks all right, I suppose.
You've got a suntan as well, darling, haven't you?
I have, but that's an unemployment suntan, actually.
Ah.
Not just lazing around, but I've been working out.
Yes.
I've been working outside.
Not the south of France.
No, not yet. No,
not yet. Oh.
Thank you, darling, for coming to see us.
It's been an absolute joy as ever, and lovely to meet you, Debbie, and lovely to see you, Dee. And why? Just before we go, why have you got Thunderbirds behind you?
No idea. Well, no, actually, I do. Because I had to come into my office in Pinewood to do something for this show. And so they just happened to be there. They're brilliant. My mates.
Oh, they're great. Yeah. I love them. I love them.
And they come to life at night. Nobody believes me.
Fantastic.
Love you, darling.
Thanks, darling.
You, darling. Lots and lots of love to you all. Lovely to see you. Okay.
Bye.
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 Wow.
He's so lovely, isn't he?
That's one special guy, isn't it? Comes off the screen.
Yes, he really, really is. I mean, that accent was great, wasn't it?
Oh, he's brilliant. He's brilliant at accent. We have had, over the years, we've had such fun. But I must tell Deb, because she doesn't know the story of how I met him in bed.
Oh, no, please do.
We were doing a series called Griffins that was going to be Britain's answer to Dallas and Dynasty. And he was like, I was the American star who was at this place, and he was the sports instructor. Anyway, the first scene that we did, we were in bed, and I had a thing in my contract that I couldn't be seen naked from the front. I could only be seen from the waist upwards at the back. But to be naked from the waist upwards at the back, you couldn't have anything at the front. So I just thought, we did this rehearsal, I had this dressing gown on. And when I actually took the dressing gown off and got into bed, I had two huge, these great big cups that you can put over your boobs. And I'd drawn eyes on them that were cross-eyed and put false eyelashes on them. So Tim was saying, waiting for her to get into bed. Off comes this. And he looked at me and went, ah! And it was so funny.
Oh, brilliant.
Isn't it?
Brilliant story.
Amazing.
And then he said to me, when we started doing all this kissing, he said, I'm really sorry if I get an erection, and I'm really sorry if I don't. He said, I don't know which one would be more insulting. And from that minute onwards, we just laughed. I mean, and then we had to do this scene where it was so passionate, we had to take hold of my face in the water and pull me down. Like, he pulls me down, and I'm under the water going, and the director's going, Glenn, let it go. Anyway,
that's how he nearly drowned you then.
That's how he nearly drowned me.
Oh, how funny.
Anyway,
wasn't that was a great story about Diana, wasn't it?
Yes.
I hadn't heard that before, so that was a good, really great to hear.
Oh, he's got lots of stories, and he did a play. Oh, he's really, you've seen him in loads of stuff. He plays barristers, and he was in a thing called To the Sword Divided, where he was on horseback all the time. It's very sort of, but anyway, he's amazing and he's fun.
Yeah, he is very handsome, isn't he?
He is very handsome.
Yeah. Well, I don't think of him like that because he's my mate.
Well, you've already been to bed with him.
Yes.
I was going to say.
That's what his wife always says to me. She said, you're the only woman I know that's been to bed with my husband, and I don't have a problem with it. Right. Okay. Debbie, thank you, darling Debbie, for coming to join us again. And it's just been lovely. It's lovely having you here. Lovely seeing you. It makes my day.
Just always my pleasure to see your smiling faces. It's always
thank you, darling. And yours too. It's always lovely. So we'll see you very soon, please.
Yes, and we'll see all of you guys on Tuesday. And who knows if Harriet and Sherry will be here, but who knows? Might just be me and Dee. Might just be me. Might just be Dee.
Yes, a little bit of mystery is quite good, isn't it? Yes.
Exactly. Okay. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.